I figured today's probably a good time to continue our circuit of trying to get reacquainted with some of our characters. We haven't really talked to Sirin yet either.
Well, if it isn't the savior of the tears, what are you gonna ask me to do now?
Ah, so, we're friendly. Sirin purses her lips and exhales dismissively.
What do you need?
No, there's no loyalty to there. Are we get close at all? 0%. My prologue decisions seem like they'd be pretty likely to not help me with this character in particular. Thankfully, hasn't really hurt my ability to use her in combat, although there'd be other benefits, of course. Let's see. I would like to know more about you? How's that gonna go? Let's not pretend you care about me, Fatebinder, because we both know it isn't true. I'm not going to offer up my heart now so you can abuse it more. It's raw enough as it is. She laughs hollowly, then shakes her head sadly, dropping her eyes. Wow. Just threaten her, basically. It's not really in character for me to do that to anyone. I threaten enemies on a regular basis, but I don't really... That's different. That's not really something I like to do.
What do you need?
Alright. So, do you know anything about what's going on in the tiers? I know a great deal about what's going on here, considering I am the root cause of at least half of it. What do you need to know? How long have you been here? Since the beginning of the occupation. Kairos wanted me out of sight, but still in use, so I was given to Nerat. It used me to gather fodder for the chorus. I'm always caught slightly off guard by how she always calls Nerat it, which is probably plenty fitting because it's probably a whole bunch of different people all at once, basically. So, much like Kairos, Nerat is a confusing character to address in any contextual way. What can you tell me about the Scarlet Chorus, since you've been with them? If I never talk about another chorus member in my entire life, I will consider it a success, no matter what else happens. She folds her arms across her chest and levels a steely gaze at you. What do you need to know? You weren't a member of the chorus. What? Absolutely not. The only reason I worked with them is because I was being forced to. Once Kairos had this monstrosity placed on my head, I really had no choice. I'm not powerful enough to force them to let me go, and they had the numbers to overwhelm me if I tried anything, so I did what I was told until you showed up. So then what do you think of them? I'd have thought my look of disgust kind of answered the question, Fatebinder. They are worthless, hopeless, disorganized bunch of savages who soon will tear themselves apart from the inside. Then what was it like working for them? Well, at first, I was treated like a queen. I spent all my time recruiting, and let's be honest, the Scarlet Chorus isn't choosy, so it was easy to convince people to join. Toward the end, I actually started fearing for my life. With this thing on my head, I couldn't effectively control an entire army, so hobbling me was quite an intelligent thing for Kairos to do. If anyone had realized I couldn't hold all of them back, I would have been in big trouble. Your little stunt at Vendrian's Well couldn't have come at a better time. So her headdress is reducing her abilities as the Sirin of the Archon of Songs, so she can't just control throngs of people. That's interesting. That kind of supports what I thought was happening, which is that I kind of think that Kairos is self-sabotaging on purpose these two armies by having two people be the two people in power that are also going to destroy each other. Because I think it's in Kairos' best interest to finish conquering the world and then have the Scarlet Chorus and the Disfavored just wipe each other out, basically, because they're both nuisances to have after that fight is over. Sirin being able to take control of one of those entire armies would completely hamper that plan, and so it makes sense that she has this dampening on her head, if any of this is on Mark to begin with. What's your opinion on their methods? They randomly grab anyone and anything they can get their hands on, and hope that it'll work out if they beat them enough. Sounds like the makings of a fantastic army to me. I am repulsed by them and everything they do. Nerat is a disgusting excuse for a leader, and I look forward to the day I can watch the life drain from his insane eyes. Am I being clear enough for you, Fatebinder? Let's, talk about something else. Alright, what do you know about Tunon? He makes me uncomfortable. There's nothing behind that mask. It's dark and empty. What do you mean? Everyone has a presence. It's how my magic works. I reach into them and convince their presence to do what I want. He has no presence. When I reached into him, there was nothing. It was bleak. I never want to feel that again. If you have to reach into someone's mind to control them, how did you influence entire armies to do what you want? I can't influence an army, but I can persuade them to feel the way I want them to. If I want to get someone to do a specific thing for me, I have to get inside their head, and that requires a lot more effort. No one can keep me out, but if they're aware of what I'm doing, I can't force them to do anything. At least not with this kind of thing on my head. She knocks a hand against her helmet. Really, I don't know how it works. It just does. You might as well ask me where lightning comes from. Which is funny, because lightning is actually an explainable thing. Not that anyone in this world is likely to understand what lightning is, but it's one of those things that has been demysticized a bit. How about Kairos? Kairos used me. Not unlike what you're doing. If you want me to tell you stories, ask someone else. Ask something else. You're not going to get this one out of me. And you can keep threatening her. She looks at you defiantly. I can just ask her again? Tell me, Sirin? Don't push me, Fatebinder. I said no. Alright, then disfavored. Really don't know much about them, Fatebinder. I never got a chance to work with them, so I don't think I'll be much help on this topic. How about Graven Ash? He seems capable enough, he's organized, and truly seems to care about his men, contrary to practically everyone else I've met here. Have you seen them in action? Briefly, at a few of the battles during Kairos' conquest, but Nerat likes to keep me locked up at tight, so I never got a good look at them fighting. You never worked with them? Not directly. I have been used to inspire people occasionally, and the disfavored were in those groups, but if you're looking for anything of merit from me on disfavored, I'm not going to be much use to you. How about the other groups? The Stonestalker tribe we're about to meet up with. Not even worthy of my attention. A beast is a beast, and you can't ever make an animal be anything more than what it is. Alright. Definitely gonna want to swap her out for kills in Shadow when we head down there. Local rebel groups. Vendrian Guard. Are they even still pertinent? After the events of Vendrian's Well, I would have thought no one would want to talk to them anymore. The Unbroken. I haven't had much exposure to them. Ash was intent on dealing with that problem, so they didn't ask for my help. Bronze Brotherhood. They're not the most helpful people, but they seem like they want what's best for Lethian's Crossing. Well, most of them. Minus the certain one, I guess. Plus, it was a lot easier for me to recruit my own followers with them around. I don't have to worry about anyone being taken by the Scarlet Course or killed by the disfavored. Mage guilds? Generally, I don't like throwing in with other mages. I've not had a good experience with them in the past, so I keep my distance. And they're so demanding. You ask them, very nicely I might add, how to cast a spell, and they insist they're not a charity, and they're not going to hand over secrets out of the goodness of their heart. Right. Like there was anything good about that one. And I didn't even use my magic on him. That's gratitude for you. She trails off and gives you an intent look. Suddenly you hear, your head feels like it's too small for your brain. She closes her eyes and takes a breath, and the feeling dissipates. What do you want to talk about? The sages? Can't say I'm too happy with them, since it was their magic that bound my voice when I was a child. But they are an influential group with infinite knowledge. At least they were. Can you imagine how powerful you could be if you had access to their collections? Earthshakers? Incredibly powerful, but strangely focused on their studies. Why would you want to pour your energy into one thing? Branch out! The magic they're missing out on is incredible. Forgebound. The group that Kairos is used to make my Hobble? The less I have to think about them, the better. So the Forgebound made her helm that she's... I mean, that's probably the logical conclusion, but now we've got confirmation of the origin of her helm that ruins her ability to be what she wants to be. Oh. It's startling sometimes when voice acting suddenly happens, because it's so rare in this game. Let's see. I should be seeking Edict information, because it's kind of important to what's going on, but I don't know if she really has any experience with them at all. State of the world, perhaps? What's there to say? Kairos' two major leaders can't stop themselves or their armies from fighting like a bunch of children. Neither of them seem capable of dealing with the rebels that are taking them down, which as far as I'm concerned is how it should be. The less of the tiers infected by Kairos, the better. If we could eliminate their armies entirely, I would consider that the true victory. I kind of wonder, if you rebel directly against Kairos, I wonder if you get the option to pursue a different path of, like, maybe removing Sirin's helm entirely and unleashing her power against Kairos' armies. That'd be kind of interesting. We could ask about our companions.
Are we trading in gossip now, Fatebinder? Or are you collecting information to use against us?
She's, positive. She arcs her eyebrow inquisitively.
What do you want to know about?
Alright, Barrack.
The walking ring pile? Let's hope you never have to go anywhere unnoticed. There's nothing particularly wrong with him, I suppose, but he doesn't seem overly bright. I mean, what kind of idiot do you have to be if you can't even take off your armor?
Yes. What kind of idiot can't take off their armor?
Maybe he's pretty, but wrapped in that getup, who can tell?
She looks at Barrack, smiles, waves, and blows him a kiss.
What was that you said? I couldn't quite hear you.
Barrack grunts, turning to face Sirin.
It's okay, Barrack. I didn't say anything about anyone important.
She speaks slowly and deliberately, patting him gently on the shoulder. She then puts her hand to mouth, suppressing a small giggle. She's just having fun manipulating him, isn't he?
I'll admit he can handle himself in a fight, but he could use a little more up here.
She taps the side of her head. How about Ebb?
She's got some power in there, that's for sure. And as long as I'm crippled, I will, begrudgingly mind you, admit she could probably win if we were pitted against each other. Though I suppose I should watch myself around her. You never know how people will react to a challenge.
Kills in shadow?
I'm not entirely sure what to say. I don't think much of her because I try not to think of her much. Have you seen the way she stares at me? I don't hate her, but she has the uncanny ability to make me uncomfortable without knowing exactly why I feel that way.
This is slightly amusing because, of course, those characters have never really interacted with each other. Kills in Shadow encountered us momentarily, and then we sent them away to the tower, and Sirin's never left my party in that period of time. Lantry.
I'm jealous of him. I've heard so much about the Vellum Citadel, and he actually got to see it before all the unpleasantness.
She trails off, a sour expression on her face, her wiggling fingers miming tiny explosions.
The sheer amount of power lost that day is only dwarfed by the amount of power required to cause the destruction, and the power to stop it. The sages have my respect. And, by extension, Lantry. Although, I'm not overly happy it was sage magic they used to bind my tongue when I was a child. I can hardly hold him responsible for that.
How kind of you, my lady. It's heartening to hear that someone of your immense station considers a lowly sage like me to be worthy of your attention.
Lantry performs a deep bow to Sirin. He's got a lot of false humility for what's probably currently my most powerful spellcaster in the party.
Although not all sages are necessarily worthy of praise. Some are a little overly fond of excesses, of one kind or another.
How about Verse? I almost forgot she existed. She's been gone for a while. Whoops.
That bitch? I'd walk her off the spire if I knew I could get away with it. I don't know why you even waste your time with her. She's rude, violent, base, impatient, and entirely pointless. You should keep much better company, Fatebinder. You asked me what I thought. I can't help it if the facts are painful to swallow.
She sighs and shrugs. Technically, I kind of haven't been wasting my time with Verse because she hasn't been in the party for so long. Although I did like our little combo that we would do where we'd knock somebody down completely and then deal damage, and then, of course, it was just like a nice consistent way of dealing prone for a while before the spellcasting was available. Prone is helpful. Also, I think Sirin technically just called Verse a basic bitch, so that was
What do you need?
Odd. I might as well finish off with the edicts. It's the only thing left. Anything I say would be a wild guess. That's why I'm with you. You seem to have a connection to the power of this land far beyond anything an Archon is capable of. It intrigues me. I want to learn what it is and harness it. Sadly, I don't have the magic needed to enact or break an edict. You're an Archon. You must know something about edicts, Sirin. You'd think that, wouldn't you? With all my training and education, Kairos has left a very big void in it all, almost like it was intentional.
What do you need?
There we go. We've covered up the, Yeah, we've covered the background of Sirin a little bit better. Trying to make my rounds through the party members, but it's hard to weave that in with all the other dialogue and everything. We're gonna want to go back to the mountain spire because we're gonna want to go try to pick up. Oh, I forgot where I was for a moment there. So Sunset Spire would have made more sense, but we want, as far as timing goes, but we want to meet up with Kills in Shadow. I'm looking around the map right now, and I'm noticing there's one tower in Blade Grave. There seems to be 2 towers in the Stone Sea. Halfgate doesn't look particularly close to either of them, so I don't know if I'll get the... Well, this could be a big branching thing as we deal with the Stone Edict and everything, so I don't know what it'll entail, but this might be my chance to finally stock up on some more towers and unlock more additional capabilities. It's surprising how far you can get in the game while still not having the towers yet. It makes sense from a story perspective, but from a structure perspective as far as like unlocks and being able to use certain mechanics in the game, it's slightly odd having to wait so long, because there's some pretty major looking mechanics are hidden behind you having towers to assign to each of those roles, like the mage thing and the blacksmithing thing and all these different abilities that I don't think you really have access to in any other way. Alright, Kills in Shadow. The beast woman squats on her haunches, back bowed and bowed or bowed? No, it had to be bowed, and face tilted towards forward as she meticulously grooms between the long, calloused fingers of one paw. A mauve tongue laves blood from her glistening claws. When did you get blood on your claws recently? You've been here for days, weeks even. She glances up, a jerky, startled movement as you approach, but there's no fear in her, only reaction, instinct, only a readiness to strike.
Fatebinder wants beast woman?
The reek of an unwashed, feral animal, bloodied and battle-worn, swathes you like a blanket, and you breathe through your mouth to keep from retching. It's time to hunt. Come with me, Kills in Shadow.
I'm ready. Wants to hunt stock prowl. Wants to kill. And howl for alpha.
She lopes forward, lips parted, tongue lolling between her discolored fangs, eager. I'm curious what level she's gonna be. I think we're gonna replace Sirin. Little mixed feelings. I like having Sirin in the party. I've gotten really used to the party I had a moment ago, but I'm a little afraid to remove Barrick because he really makes the party work, and similarly, like Lantry, his restorative magic I think has gotten relatively advanced at this point, and he's I don't think I'd want to remove him either. So Sirin makes the most sense. As often the case, really the most removable character in the party might be my main character, but of course it's a person you can't take out. I fell into the same trap I kind of said I was kind of thinking of not falling into. When I made that character, I even was saying at the time, like, it's good to make your main character a super vital party member, because otherwise you feel restricted in your options at who you pick. So it's often good to make your party member, like... I often have the best outcome when I make my party, my main character, also my main tank, because then that gives me more mobility as far as party customization. And it worked great for Dragon Age Inquisition. And then I immediately contradicted my own behavior by just going, I'm like, oh, Javelin Thrower. I've never seen a Javelin Specialist class since, like, Diablo 2. Let's just do that. And then I did that. And so I just pissed all over my own plan. So what level are they? So we have 9, 10, 9, and... Oh! 9. She's leveled up. That's convenient. So I think I'm going to make her an unarmed specialist. You can basically make her an off-tank or an unarmed DPS, and I think I'm going to go down that path. So she starts off with a skill that lets her attack from stealth with like a leaping attack that does a bunch of damage. Seems pretty strong. Then there's 3 separate ranks of natural weaponry, giving her plus 11 unarmed damage. Claw Swipe is just a relatively straightforward attack. It's a cone swing attack. Most importantly, possibly most importantly, it leads to an interruption, which could be useful. 3 armor penetration, 3 natural armor, 20% increased experience gained for one-handed weapons, unarmed combat, and subterfuge. That could help make up for her lack of use in the game, but also just lead to her getting a really high unarmed combat score by the end of the game. And is that the main things? Dual claw, right. When she gets below 70% health, she attacks twice she attacks twice with each basic attack. So maybe don't heal her immediately, because if she's reduced in health at all, she suddenly does a bunch of damage. That's interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And now I need to figure out how to distribute these points. So, unarmed combat primarily benefits from finesse, but a little less from quickness. And finesse is one of her bad stats. She could probably do with good finesse, though, because it would help with her accuracy, which she seems to suck at by default, which is kind of a problem. Might even put like might put half of her points into finesse immediately, which bumps up her unarmed combat. She actually starts off with a decent starting health stat. Should I just go all into finesse? I could. I could just be like, haha, finesse all day. That'd help with her accuracy. And accuracy is probably a good call because she has all these damage modifiers for her combat. If she's with higher accuracy, she's more likely to crit. She's more likely to she gets a higher unarmed combat stat. She can get better hits with most of her attacks, and that matters because if she starts attacking twice at a time, that's 2 separate dice rolls for hitting. If I can keep all of those hit chances up, that would generally benefit. Yeah. Also, freaking 9 armor. She has 9 armor and she's not even wearing armor. Can she wear armor? I don't even know if she can wear armor. Huh. I'm gonna go all in with accuracy. I think that's a reasonable thing to do, especially if she's specializing in unarmed. I think. Should I put a couple into strength? It does give her a damage. It gives her a little bit of a bonus damage because at some point this is based on might. But it's not a very fast bonus. It's like, oh yeah, 1 extra hit. I don't know, pure accuracy might help in this situation. Doesn't hurt that unarmed is going up on its own. I think I'm going to stick with that, yeah. There we go. Can you even you don't have armor equipments. Armor slots. That's it. So I guess I can go off and sell most of my spare stuff because, she can't wear it in general. I might double check versus, that was a weird sentence. I was gonna say, like, I might double check versus equipment. I might check my pool of equipment against what Verse is currently wearing to see if I can swap and upgrade anything she's wearing. Might do that between episodes since it's kind of maintenance and won't affect the near future. But yeah, I'll probably have a lot less stuff in my inventory suddenly just to deal with the fact that this thing's so crowded. Can you learn this? No, you. Sigil of Channeled Strength expression. Scroll contains a magical expression which is used in spells that affect targets within a cone in front of the caster. Oh god, it's another one of these, right. Okay, let's find out what our new spells are like. So it's the Y-shaped one. I wish I could click on this first and then just see the cores that fit with it. Oh. That's a big deal. Surge of Glory. So we have a vigor related cone spell. So as a 100 degree cone, allies get, oh geez, plus 30% damage for 20 seconds. Conjure a wave of invigorating energy. Affected allies gain a bonus to resolve and damage dealt. Wow. I can increase it a little better before I give it to my main character. I should probably give it to him because he's one of the vigor specialists. I'm actually out of slots for Lantry at this point. I could give it to Lantry, but I'd have to take away False Pit at this point and just fully invest him in being completely about defensive and healing spells, which is not unreasonable. Damage buffs are good. Let's see here. We can increase the effectiveness of it by even more. Let's work on the Lantry version of the spell. Okay, so increased effectiveness 42%. Damn. This is the duration of it, also not bad. Sure. A slight change to cooldown would mean that it could almost be kept up at all times. These are the radiuses. You can make the cone larger, which could be good for situational buffing. For being able to hit everyone properly with it. Otherwise you have to get creative with it, basically. But I think I want to go for cooldown. I'll assign that over False Pit. There we go. And now we remove everything, basically. And give the kind of crappier version to our main character. But he is a bit of a vigor specialist. Should I just give him a really short cooldown so he can kind of use it over and over again? I like to attack with that character though, so it's a bad idea to be too spammy with it. No. I'm kind of thinking that maybe that just should stay as a Lantry spell. If I overload the main character with too many defensive casts, it would kind of diminish the fact that they're currently like one of my more effective casters, and maybe I should just leave them as is. Right now they have a few offensive tricks they can throw at them, and he's kind of a weird jack of all trades that's not great at anything, but he has his leader-specific buffs he can throw around too. Let's check the next one. Unravel Minds. Maybe that's something to give to my main character. 8 to 13 raw damage in a cone. Control illusions and lore. So we could do that. Gives them dazed and stunned. A nice negative effect. Let's check the next one. Oh wow, even Icicle Storm. Okay, so apparently this works with virtually everything. So now we have a Cold Cone. Shoots 7 projectiles with 5 armor penetration. We might want to give this one to Sirin when we get back to them. Almost certainly Ebb. Healing Cone? No. No healing cones. We have... Oh, here's the water cast. Tidal Burst. Dazed Affliction, Cone... Oh. Right, this is Force, not a water. Tidal caught me off guard a little bit. Still, though, neat. There's a few variations I want to give to Ebb if we get around to using them again. Really, a cone of... Yep. Fulmination. We have a cone of lightning. Bonus shock damage taken for 4 seconds. On top of being a lightning cone, of course. Attacks 1 and 2. Release several waves of electrical energy. Yep. So you shoot them once, and it makes them more vulnerable to electricity, and then you hit them again while they're vulnerable, and you should be able to also stack other electric attacks with other party members if you're being careful about it. Flash Fire. Gives the Mage Fire Affliction over Cone. Basic recovery. Conjure Flash of Flames that burns nearby enemies. Foes are interrupted and left burning. Okay. So next time I use Sirin and Ebb, we've got a number of offensive casting applications I can use. But right now it comes down to, do I want to use Tidal Burst? I only really have room for one right now. Let's check which one I'm better at between illusions. 32 control force, 41 control illusions. So I am better with illusion than the other options. To the point where control illusion's actually kind of catching up with control vigor because I haven't used it as much as I thought I would. Because at some point I thought this character would be vaguely paladin-like. So the illusions is probably a good idea. 8 to 13 raw. Yeah, dazed and stunned. It's handy to start stacking some negative effects on the enemies in the area. Let's see, it costs 40 right now. So I can actually increase its strength by 1, which unfortunately only leads to more damage but not more status effect. So maybe go for the duration one? That's probably better. I can't quite make it. It's too expensive. I can also... Oh, I can add bleed to the... Oh, not quite. That'd be fun, though. Maybe I go get 2 more lore skill and make it into a thing that gives them daze, bleed, and stun simultaneously. That'd be kind of nice. I think the go-to thing... Oh, accuracy. Can't afford that either. Damn it. God damn it. It's a cone-based thing. I'm often a back character, so increasing it from 4.5 to 6.3 meters would probably come in handy. There we go. Yeah, having an increased cone range for the attack would probably help me out then, since I'm usually at range to begin with. Let's replace Quicken with that on the bar for easier access. Unravel Minds. There we go. Got a lot of goddamn spells to keep track of here. There we go. This might be a fun thing to experiment with. I don't know how long I'll keep it on, but she gets bonus damage but loses some of her health every 3 seconds, 1%, which is pretty slow health loss compared to how long most fights last, so it's not totally crazy. And making her health just a little lower might help with her getting that 2 attacks per hit effect anyway, but 10% damage might be pretty good for what may be a character that's possibly becoming our primary DPS. Depends a lot on just how effective her attacks turn out to be in practice.